All right, Outlaw Radio Live fans, we are live on the air with Sacramento, California's own. We got the legendary Brotha Lynch hung on the line. How you doing this evening?
Good, man. Thank you for having me.
You are most certainly welcome. First and foremost, I have to say, man, thank you for just allowing us some of your time, man, because I've been a fan for a very long time, so this is an absolute honor.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. And again, I appreciate you guys for having me. All the support I can get.
So I have to ask you, brother, from the very beginning, what made you decide to get into music from the start?
Well, I rapped this song, Rapper's Delight, and everybody remembers, my age remembers that. And once I rapped that song and got it all the way through, I was like, maybe I could do this. So, us from the older age, we had to memorize that song. A lot of people did too, and then I really felt like I could do it. I put two tape recorders together, one playing the beat, one playing, recording. So I started rapping that, and then once that happened, I was like, I could do this. So yeah, it started like that. I was 13 years old.
13 years old with a dream, and look at you now. You know what I mean? You're a household name worldwide.
Yeah, I've been blessed, bro.
And also, you've been described as the innovator of horrorcore. I have to ask you, how does it feel having that title under your belt?
Well, I was glad to be in a group, but I really consider myself Rip Gut Cannibalism. Speaking of, I'm about to drop a little EP besides the EP I just dropped, just for the fans, because everybody has to stay in the house, called Fundamentals of Rip Gut Cannibalism. So, and I just dropped the EP last week too. So we're just trying. I'm just trying to give the fans some stuff, to do what they have to stay inside.
And since we're on the topic quickly of the EP, that was actually near the end of the interview, but since we brought it up, let's get it out of the way. I have to ask you, where can our listeners buy or stream that record? And also, what's the inspiration behind your new EP?
I haven't dropped the album in a long time. You can get it on every platform, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all that. But anyone you can get it on, it's there. But yeah, it inspired. I felt like the game was missing something, and they were missing me. Well, from what my fans said, you know what I mean. So I had to drop something real quick. This is not the season of the sickness 2 that I'm working on now, but I had to give them something because it's been a lot of music out there that they weren't satisfied with. So I had to drop this, and then I'm dropping another one too. So I'm just trying to give them a dose of me while everybody's in the house, until everybody can finally get back to being, normal, whatever the new normal is gonna be.
And that's true, and especially with your case as well, you're in the house, so you're just making music, and I don't think us fans are going to complain about that, you know what I mean? Getting a bunch of new Brotha Lynch hung mob material.
Yeah, I had to get something out there, and contribute, and I want everybody to be safe too. So I also have masks coming, you know what I mean? So this new stuff is driving everybody crazy. So I just want to help.
And also, going back quite a few years here, back in the year of 1986, you were in a group called the Street Talk Crew. I have to ask you, can you tell us a little bit more about the story behind that formation? How did all you members meet?
Well, we met. It was just two of us. We met in high school, and we used to battle rappers at high school. And then we came up with this idea: we're going to go to all the high schools, even though we had to skip school, and I don't recommend that. But we skipped school and went to all the high schools and battled all the top rappers there, and came up with that name, the Street Talk Crew. And we battled some great groups too. So actually, my brother Six, he came up with the title of the group, but I kind of felt it because we talked about the streets.
And also, a few years later, in '91, as a Street Talk crew, yourself and X-Rated and your brother Sick X released the album N in Black. I have to ask you, what's the inspiration behind that amazing record?
Well, I saw that X-Rated had a lot of talent, and he also could make you laugh in his rhymes too. So I was like, immediately, we had to get this dude out. He actually came out before I did. He came out in '91. I came out in '92. So I was like, since I wasn't done yet, let's make sure he get all his stuff done. And then I dropped closely after with the 24 EP.
And I do have to say, on behalf of X-Rated, I'm really glad that he's actually out of prison, man. I really do think that was a long time coming, and he's putting out a lot of material as well. Like, he's just making, before COVID-19, he was making video after video, dropping track after track. You know, he most definitely did not lose his touch when it comes to music.
Nah, he didn't. He was so. I went the first day he got out. I drove from LA, where I'm at now, to San Francisco to go meet up with him. I was pretty much the first person he saw when he got out, because I had been waiting for 26 years. So I had to get down there and support him. I hopped in his video. He filmed the video. And ever since then, he's just been taking off. So I figured, hey, I better start taking off again, too.
And if you don't mind me asking, just pertaining to that subject, you know, in his song "California Dreamin'," he said he wasn't even expecting parole. Like, were you surprised when you got the call saying, like, "Hey, I got parole. Like, let's meet up"?
Yeah, he didn't think he was gonna get out. He really thought that's why he released the song 25 to Life, because he thought he would never get out. But he participated in programs, and he was the talker of all the programs, and I guess they figured this guy was young. He was 16 years old when he went in. He may have grew up, and now he does classes, and he speaks to people. So I think that's part of the reason they got him out. Let him do his thing. And keep in mind that he was still restricted when he got out for at least a year. So he's finally all the way free now.
Yeah, it really does. It really doesn't hit you when you first get out. You still have like those jitters and the paranoia and whatnot. You still think people are coming towards it. You know what I mean? It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah, definitely. So he's glad to be out. We did a couple shows together for the first time ever, and they came out great.
I actually had the privilege of interviewing him last year as well, and I have to say, such an amazing individual. You know, such a nice guy.
His intelligence is off the chain. That's what people don't know about it.
And also, in the year '93, you released your debut EP called 24 Deep. I have to ask you, what made you decide to, like, you know, just go solo in '93 and do your own thing?
Well, at the time, Street Talk Crew was going through some just petty stuff. So I was like, well, I'm going to just go ahead and go solo and drop an EP. X-Rated had already signed the Black Market Records. So I was like, okay, he was already done with his project, so Black Market put him out first. While his stuff was being worked on and dropped, I worked on 24D.
And also, you were featured... Oh, sorry about that.
92.
Sorry about that, brother.
Oh, yeah, it dropped in 92, so that was right after X-Rated dropped in 91.
Okay, my apologies on that.
Oh, no problem.
And you were also featured on KRD's album Sacktown Funk. I have to ask you, what was it like working with him, and how did you and KRD get connected?
He's a guy that we grew up together, and wow, you brought that up. That's crazy. That's a good question. I knew him from just the neighborhood. Eventually, took him on as a bodyguard. I knew he was a rapper, and so I just shot him some verses and said, make a project out of it. You know, something good could happen out of this. So, but I had grown up with him, though.
And also, a few years after you released your EP, you released the album Season of the Sickness, which actually became your first ever album to enter the Billboard 200. I have to ask you, how did that feeling feel, being able to open up that magazine and actually seeing your work on the Billboard 200?
Oh, it's a dream come true. Because nobody at the time from Sacramento was even doing big things. You know what I mean? Like making it, outside of the city. And how it happened was the people picked up on it in the city, started spreading through Northern California, started spreading through California, and then got into all the other states. I never knew any of this was happening until I did my first tour.
And I have to ask you, that album went platinum, correct?
Yes.
How many times did it actually go platinum?
Well, I don't know where it's at now. Last time I checked, it was at 1. It could be, I still get checks from it today, so it's probably up high now.
That's good, you know what I mean? At least it's still feeding your family after all these years.
Yeah, and I came out during the glory years of rap, so 90s, when you had to go actually to the store, so that kind of helped a bit.
And I have to say, though, on that topic, the glory days of rap were the best because of the fact is now everything's digital. It doesn't feel the same just clicking and buying, When you actually have the booklet, you get to open it up, read the thank you credits. Now that is what you call listening to a record, because it's not the same without the booklets in the case and being able to hold the work in your hand.
Yeah, and well, you know what? Vinyl is coming back. So we're gonna drop some. We're gonna release some vinyl from some of my old records because a lot of fans on my Instagram ask me, "Do you have vinyl?" So they could, play it in the clubs and stuff. Don't know when that's gonna happen again, as far as being able to go to a club, but I am gonna get the vinyl made.
And also, a few years after that, in the year 2000, you were in the film called Now Eat, which is a horror comedy. I have to ask you, can you tell us a bit more about that film, and what was it like actually being able to be in a film rather than music?
I appreciate movies more than music. That's what I originally wanted to do was, getting in movies and stuff. I didn't think I had to look, but I could play a thug in any movie. So that's what I actually really had done. And it kind of took over what I wanted to do in music, but music was my paycheck. So I kind of kept going with that.
Did you ever consider, actually in the future, maybe joining another horror movie cast or anything like that? Or is that just something you did it for a one-time thing?
No, I would love that. I pick movies over music, period. I also have a camera, too, where it's like it's a movie camera, definitely. But I'm filming some stuff right now for a documentary, so I'm trying to slowly get in it. I know, a lot of people didn't even make it till they were my age, like Samuel L. Jackson and stuff like that. So there's still a chance. So.
Hey man, you never know. You know what I mean? It's it's still you're still at a fairly young age, so you never know. You really can burst right into the films for sure.
Yeah, I would love to do that. So Now Eat, I didn't write. A guy named Terry and Dave Weiner from Priority Records, who I was signed to back then, they wrote and created the movie. My goal is, in which I've been doing, is coming up with my own screenplay. My wife, she has 3 screenplays already written. She's a beast, and she's been teaching me how to write screenplays. So, and this has been for 10 years. So I think I'm pretty much there now.
Oh, most definitely. And not even just that, you know what I mean? After this COVID-19's over, hopefully we can get one of those movies shot. We can see you in another horror film.
Hey, if it come on regular TV, if this stuff is still going on, I accept that too.
And also, 9 years after the horror comedy Now Eat, in 2019 you signed with Tech Nine's Strange Music label. I have to ask you, how did that record deal come to be for you, and what was it like working under Tech Nine's label?
Oh man, it was so professional. It was so professional. It's like I learned a lot being signed to them. Touring and merch and all that stuff. Like, they had everything down pat. They're a tight knit and tight run organization. So that kind of changed my mind about some things, because I went through all that drama with Black Market Records, and to come to a label who really takes care of you like that, tour buses, all the above, was great.
And also, well under Strange Music, you also released a horror-inspired trilogy. I have to ask you, what made you decide to create a trilogy? Like, what's the story behind that?
Well, that goes back to me wanting to get into the movie business. I'm thinking if I could pull it off with this 3-album trilogy, maybe that'll let people know that I'm, where I'm trying to go with all of my career.
And also, I saw on Instagram that you have Instagram videos called the Brotha Lynch Hung Challenge. I have to ask you, tell us a bit more about that, and how do we take the challenge?
You have to follow Basic Music Gram, and a lot of fans just been chiming in and sending our certain songs in that they did. So we started posting it on our Basic Instagram and my Instagram. I'll put a few on there. We're really trying to blow up the Basic Music Instagram, so we're putting most of the challenges on there.
And I also have to ask you this. I know unfortunately your tour got postponed. Do you have any idea of exactly when you're going to restart that tour? And also, what cities do you plan on hitting when that tour restarts?
Well, I want to hit cities that I haven't hit in a while, like Texas. I want to hit Arizona. I want to hit East Coast. It's really bad over there, so I'm probably going to just, for now, even though it got pushed back, and I don't know how far it's going to be pushed back to. But I just watched Good Morning America and CNN, and anything's getting better. But my manager says that I might be able to be touring by Halloween.
That would be good. I really do hope that for you, because I was looking at those dates and it seemed like you guys had a really big tour plan. So I was actually, when I was seeing that, I was like, damn, man.
Yeah, we had it planned and all this stuff happened and we had to, move. Promoters are the ones that are scary, but we have some plans for this next tour that'll keep everybody safe as far as masks and what I perform in and stuff like that. I don't want to reveal too much, but everybody's going to be safe as soon as you walk in the building. You know what I mean? So that's what our goal is.
And at the end of the day, as long as your fans are safe and you're safe on stage is all that matters.
Yeah, I don't need nobody to get sick or anything on my watch.
And I have to ask you, brother, what's next for you? Like, other than your EP and the new one you're dropping and the tour whenever all this, when this pandemic's over, what's next for Brotha Lynch Hung? What's next on your agenda?
Well, right now I'm writing a biopic of my whole career called Season of the Sickness. So I'm hoping to get that shot and maybe get a deal for that for Netflix.
That would be cool.
Hulu, I don't care. Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Amazon Prime, I don't care. I just want to get a deal.
So I have to ask you, pertaining to that, like, is it going to be like a normal documentary where people are doing interviews, or is it actually going to be like someone playing your character and whatnot?
Oh, it's going to be somebody playing my character. My nephew is going to play my character. He looks just like me, a younger version of me, obviously. I want to get him in there and play me because I've grown up with him. You know what I mean? So it's actually Six's son.
I actually had him on the show not too long ago. He's a very, very talented individual. So, brother, this is the time in the interview that I just give a chance for the individual that comes on the show. Just a chance to give shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to. And also your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you if they're not already doing so.
Everything is Brotha Lynch Hung. I don't use Facebook. I got Instagram and Twitter. Brotha Lynch Hung, and you'll see it verified with the check mark.
Is there anybody you want to give shout-outs while we still have you here on the air?
Well, I want to give shout-outs to my manager, Don Robinson, and who got this interview I want to give a shout out to X-Rated, all my block homies, you know what I mean? Everybody from the folks, you know what I mean? And I just want everybody to be safe and practice social distancing. And really, the most important one is to all my fans who supported me over the years.
I gotta say, Brotha Lynch, thank you so much for coming up on Outlaw Radio Live. It was an absolute honor, and most definitely a privilege to have such a legendary individual like yourself on my station.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Thank you for saying that, man. And I thank you guys so much for having me.
You are most certainly welcome. Anytime you'd like to come back, feel free to message me. You're always welcome on Outlaw Radio Live.
Will do.
Thank you so much. Be safe and have yourself a wonderful night.
You do the same, and you be safe out there.
I'll try my best. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.